FX here. Welcome back to another brand new video. Today I'm going to be breaking down an opportunity that I got involved in on EURUSD. This was a 1 to 7.6 risk to reward, but I ended up securing profits just a little bit sooner, and it led to a 1 to 5.5 risk to reward, I believe. So this overall was a very nice opportunity. It was an intraday setup. I'm going to be going ahead and breaking down the entire process of what led to this trade. I'm going to talk a little bit about my thought process, what my psychology was like, as well as my overall decision making when building the story for a trade. Because I believe trading itself, you're building stories. You know, it's almost like art, being able to catch a good opportunity. A whole process goes into it. And yeah, so I'm going to break that down. We're also going to go into the Discord and you will see the signal. So right here we're on the 1 minute time frame. Let's go into the Discord channel, and you can see right here March 3rd. This is when this trade was taken, and I'm gonna click on the image right here. You can see EURUSD trade idea, 1 to 7.66 risk to reward, managed risk, continuation trade. So this trade right here wasn't more of a continuation, like talking about like a breakout or anything. It was more of just following the higher time frame narrative of me expecting lower pricing. But basically you can see the entry was 1.10909. So let's go ahead and come right here and let's rewind this back to here. So 1.10909, stop loss was 1.10953, 1.10953, and then the take profit was 1.10572. So 10572, and this was gonna be like that overall. Let's bring this back right here, and this was the overall opportunity, right? So this was the overall trade. I'm just gonna press play, skip through it here, let it do its thing. So you can see that we were ranging a little bit for the most part. This range in here really didn't bother me. I'm gonna explain why in a second. It's kind of just part of the process of this trade. A lot of times price likes to deliver in different ways. This just so happened to be more of a rangy type of trade. So yeah, we ended up just ranging a little bit more, and then we drop off fairly strong here, and this was the trade. So this was a 1 to 7.66. I ended up closing my position early within this region right here. But let's go ahead and kind of break down the reason behind this, right? You can see that this was the markup. We went a little bit into profits. Seeing some ranging currently. I'm still holding this trade, still had the ranging. Then it was risk-free at this point because we finally dropped off. I didn't have any reason for price to want to come higher. Then we dropped off a little bit more, and I adjusted my take profit area to here. And then it hit my TP for 1 to 5. It eventually hit those final targets as well, which I wasn't involved in at that time. But yeah, let's go ahead and break this opportunity down, right? So to really start off this trade, I want to go to the 15-minute time frame. Now, the first thing I'm doing when I'm getting on the charts is I want to take inventory, right? I want to take inventory of where price is at and all of the different possibilities that can happen from a neutral standpoint, right? So what we seen right here is that this was 7 a.m. So this was, you know, New York open when I originally got on the charts the day of me taking this trade. So when I got on the charts, right, I started to potentially build different stories, right? Just like we were talking about in the beginning of the video, trading is almost like an art, you know, especially if you're intraday trading. I know a lot of different approaches, you know, if you're trading support, resistance, and all these other things, you might not really need to take as much details into account. But for me, I take certain details into my analysis, and I build a story behind price. And then whatever seems logical to me, I execute. So what we see right here on the 15-minute is that we have swept the previous low. So we had this low right here, which was set in for London that day. And then later that day in New York, that low was swept, followed by some aggression up. Now, this is something you'll see a lot after highs and lows are swept. Usually, sometimes you'll see aggressiveness in the other direction. And what I like to call that is like fuel, right? So some highs and lows are just fuel for the markets, simply liquidity and things like that. So we've seen this low ran, we had the aggressiveness up. This wick cleared Asia's high, and then once that high was cleared, you can see that we really, we did react to this wick. So this little supply wick. Ever since this high was cleared, we started having that bearish, you know, downside movement. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at a fresh set of the daily cycle. So I'm cutting it off here, and I understand that, right? Asia started its range. It began to consolidate a little bit. And now what we're going to see is we're either, one, going to be bullish from here, or two, we're going to have sellers take over within these footprints. So the idea behind this, right, is that the market moves just based off of one thing. And I said this in my last video or the video before this, and that the market moves based off of orders. The market doesn't move based off terminology. A lot of people think the market moves based off of support resistance, and they're viewing it based off zones or order blocks. And when these things get invalidated, they feel like a strategy isn't what moves. The strategy isn't consistent or something. But the truth is that the markets aren't terminology. The markets are cause and effect based off of orders and what goes into them, right? So what I'm looking at for the most part is, at this point, are buyers going to be holding their end of the range, because we have this low right here, which creates like the bottom. We have this high here, which creates the top. And then once we create the bottom and the top, we're now just ranging and making its way down. So are we gonna have demand outweighing supply? If demand outweighs supply, we're gonna see higher pricing. Or will supply outweigh demand, aka are more people looking to sell EU than buy it? And when I say people, I mean anyone looking to get involved in the Forex market. Remember, orders give life to an exchange. If an exchange has no orders, it's not gonna move. And dominantly, what gives life to the FX markets is a little different in stocks, right? So I believe when you understand order flow in the Forex market, it's so much more powerful than treating the strategy the same in stocks, because Forex is literally central bank involvement. You know, I believe it was like one statistic I seen was like 8 or 9 trillion a day worth of daily volume. So you essentially want to understand who the biggest participants are, and the ones that have been participating for the longest, and understand how their capital affects the market. So for me, this was this aggressive bullish move up. I wanted to watch the edge of this, and then we had this little aggressive move down into that edge. So I wanted to read intentions here, right? So trade locations are very important to me. And then what we see, like I said, is just that 15-minute time frame zone. And I'm kind of viewing it from a neutral standpoint at this time. I do understand that this low is swept and we had some aggression. So like I said, one of two things are going to happen. We're going to have sellers continue to take over price and bring price lower so it can reach some new footprint maybe to the left, or we'll just continue bullish. And if we continue bullish, then I either won't find sells, or I'll take sells and it'll be wrong. Then I'll look to take buys to correct wherever the direction is going, right? So anything I see is logical. Now what we have right here, if we come down to the 1 minute, is a reaction from a zone footprint demand up into a reaction over here. So what I have at this point is like the top of a 15-minute range, the bottom of the 15-minute range. So essentially, I'm just going to be looking to play the edge of this right here, and if the opportunity is involved, I'll just be playing that that continuation structure, right? So taking this type of trade here and looking for that order flow to align. Now keep in mind, everything I'm saying right now is already based off of me having a higher time frame narrative. I believe that most likely we were going to see continued selling just because this structure here didn't take place at like a key point where a reversal would be likely. So these are just all things that I'm keeping in mind to build a story, right? Now this is that 15-minute range. It's that 15-minute footprint. So now that's in the footprint, I know there's a possibility based off of what moves the market. What moves the market? Orders. If we have that sharp move down, we know that something was responsible for the sharp move down. So if these people that caused this sharp move down decide they want to protect their order and they want lower pricing, we're going to see the market most likely take it lower. Trust me when I say that if you understand some of the characteristics that are important to understand, you will see these things repeat themselves week by week, guys. Now, this is something that I realized. So we had this low right here, which will be like the rebalance of my range because this is that wick. And then what I noticed is that we had this high react a little bit. There's really nothing special about this high. We end up, running through that high. We run up aggressively. We run out aggressively. So what I know about orders and what I know about price is that the quicker the movement, the more involvement. So me understanding this movement right here, this large aggression this aggressiveness out of my zone. This was me checking off of the mental list of what I like to see and what I like to look for. So at this point, I'm now going to be mapping out this, and I'm going to map this out as my 1 minute footprint, my 1 minute OB, whatever you want to call it. And then, like I said, my entry was here, and then my stop loss was just covering that high, because we need to understand that we're always creating price ranges. So I was looking to sell within this range, and then I had what I would refer to as an ISL. This is something that I really don't think anybody uses. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe they call it something else, but this is something I've created just from my own back testing and experimenting with price. We have the ISL. If you're my student, you definitely know what ISL means, because I look for it in a lot of my models. Now, basically, I'm just expecting, due to the ISL, I'm expecting this low cleared and at least rebalancing into this area right here. So if we retrace back into here, it's a high probability from a range perspective that we're going to come back into the edge right here. So I'm really just trading the edges of these ranges. And what we see, right, is that reaction at aggressiveness. And I understand that we also have this little wick right here, which can be viewed as liquidity. And then, of course, this high would be like the top of range for the M1. Top of range for the M1, and then of course this low right here that I just marked blue would be the bottom of the M1 range. So I'm just, of course, if I want to see lower pricing on the 15 minute, I'm gonna also see a lower pricing within this 1 minute structure down into this range right here. So yeah, I was taking the sells here. I got involved at 810, right, 810, and then this is basically what it looked like. You know, we just started ranging a little bit, dropping off, and then at this point right here, I went break even. We can see that we ended up trading up into this little footprint and then continuing down even lower. And we see some aggression moving to the downside, and then there we go. So what I did, right, as we come back to the signals, is I decided to adjust my take profits, which were originally all the way down here. I decided to bring my region where I wanted to take profits at to be the edge of this range, just because of the timing. So being able to differentiate when you expect a low to be hunted compared to be protected is also very important. The reason that I wanted this low to be hunted, right, which means just aggressive push through, is because the details of my overall structure right here, which led to me wanting to get involved. So I know that if sellers were to hold here, buyers would want to hold here, right? They would want to hold here, but essentially if sellers are stronger, they would want to clear this low, right? That would be what we would expect. I didn't see price like really making its way up slowly. I seen like it literally came down super aggressive, and when it wigged back up into here, I closed, right? Because I know the idea that new lows can be set in, you know, especially after clearing previous lows within a higher time frame zone. So that is kind of why I did that. And then for the most part, right, I was just building a story. I understood that like we were bearish out of Asia's range, and I was just playing a continuation here. So it goes to that idea that, you know, price is never too high for a bull, and it's never too low for a bear. Price can be low and it can continue lower. Price can be high and it can continue higher. It's really just all about having that understanding of price and using certain details to your advantage to know exactly what you're looking for, you know. And you're not always going to show up and read price delivery perfectly, but you can always have a set of rules and follow those rules perfectly. That way, when you have a systematic approach, you never really feel lost. You know, you master whatever your system is, and then you repeat it day in and day out. And that's exactly how we operate. That's how I operate. However long it takes to enter a trade, however, whatever the markets, you know, are doing today, none of that, you know, is really mattering to me, as long as I'm mastering my plan and my way of getting involved within the markets. So you can see that, boom, we ended up dropping off. We, like I said, aggressiveness. So we ended up hunting this low, and then I was out, you know, around this low right here for like 1 to 5.5 risk to reward. And then, of course, if you did decide to hold towards the original profit area, those second targets will be hit as well. So just to take a look at this trade, you can see that it was just simple continuations. And if I turn the bar replay off, you can see that we ended up dropping quite a bit more, but that's okay. You know, I know the way I like to take profits, and it's very systematic. I'm someone who likes to take profits at a 1 to 5 to a 1 to 15. I see people do the 1 to 100s. That's cool. I see it on social media at least. I don't know if they're actually doing it. Props to them if they are. It really doesn't matter. For me, I just know exactly what I do, and that's 1 to 5 to 1 to 15 per opportunity, and basically trading a very systematic approach, and in my free time trying to find ways to polish it, because I know it works right now, but how can I polish it into my mind? How can I get it hardwired into my mind to where I get involved in every setup I see? So it's really all about mastering your process, mastering your decision making. And yeah, so of course, yeah, I could have held this trade if I wanted to, because I expected more bearish pressure, and caught the 1 to 20. But that's not really the way I think. I go ahead and I keep everything systematic. So I walked away here with like a 1 to 5.5 plus R, and this was a 5-figure day. So I'm definitely appreciative of what the markets offered me. Now, so yeah, that's it for the signal right here, and then we're gonna go into the Instagram really quick. So you can see this is a post. So my original targets were 1 to 7. I decided to close at the edge of the range to 5R plus due to the timing rather than seeking the full move down. EU100 the low, so I managed to grab a little extra at the time. Price later dropped down to final targets. I risked 2K on this trade and was rewarded 5X plus of that. Simply put, I now use the profits from this trade as risk capital for the next opportunity. So that's really the way this works, you know. And I'm sure most of you guys know this, you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while now. But basically, you know, whatever the outcome of this trade is, right? This trade right here was 5R. You can say almost 6R. I'm now going to like recruit this RR, right? This 5-6R, whether no matter how much it is, this 5-6R in US dollar amount. My capital now becomes a servant. So let's just go ahead and say that you made a couple thousand off this trade. This couple thousand could either be withdrawn and you can enjoy these profits straight away, and that's perfectly fine. It all depends on what you want to do. Or you can recruit this 2,000 to be a servant for future reward. So if you were risking, if you made 2,000 on 5R, that means what? You risked what, $400. So you now can continuously put 400, 400, 400, 400 for the next 5 trades and go for the same type of opportunity. So you're recruiting your capital to potentially go back out. So you're just making smart decisions. You're looking to generate returns on that RR, and then you're taking those smart trades again and again, right? And you're just kind of playing that edge over and over, based off whatever your plan may be. For me personally, that's mostly likely what I'm going to do. Sometimes I withdraw some of my profits. I kind of do it spontaneously. For the most part right here, I'm just going to mainly put this back out there, use that capital to re-risk. Not 100% all of it, but a good bit of it is going to be kept in the account, and take a percentage of this trade, risk it for another 10R trade. And then I'll be able to play the odds multiple times, right? So yeah, definitely had to sit on my hands while waiting for what I wanted to see through these market conditions, and then learn to love the hunt, you know, simple as that. This was available as a signal in real time to all private community members. So these were the cells right here, and then of course the signal and things like that. And then if you don't follow me on Instagram, this right here was just the breakdown. I recorded this in real time. I'm not gonna let the whole thing play here, but I recorded it in real time, and you can see how I went about just watching the setup and things like that. I think more people should do this right here. It's a great way to instill confidence in like aspiring traders, because I had a lot of people tell me they don't see many people do it live like this. So you know, I definitely say more people should do it like this to show it can be done. And then the EURUSD 1 to 12. I didn't make a video about this. This was another signal called by one of our coaches. Shout out to Henry. He's been a member with me for almost 2 years now, and he's just really grown as a trader. He's a great trader, and he called this setup. I just annotated it for the content, but he called this trade idea. Of course, everything's on the chart: the entry, the stop loss. He called this for London, 2 a.m. on the dot, 12.6 RR, and yeah, it ended up running even more. It ran to like 30 RR, I believe. But look, I can actually show y'all. Let me scroll up. So let's see. Yeah, so this one right here, EURUSD trade idea, 12.6R. I'm in. I'll go risk free at this point, and then at this point he just continue to let it run a little bit more, and then running 30 RR, which was crazy. So that was just overall a nice trade. And then to look at the results of our community right now, we have the trade ideas, and February 22nd to March 3rd is 15.76 RR. So understand that every win is going to be relative to our risk to reward amount, whether it's 5R, 10R, 15R on a trade. That can end up being the outcome. And then any loss should be minus 1R. I like to think of it as like every winning trade gives me leverage for further opportunity. Every winning trade gives me leverage for further opportunity. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. And yeah, I hope y'all got some value from this video. I hope y'all got some gems from it. Just want to get on here really quick. It's 10:14 p.m. Not really too late. I used to stay up all night to trade. Then at one point I used to wake up at 2 a.m. to trade London. But now I'm actually gonna go to sleep in a little minute to wake up pretty early to trade New York. But yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all learned something new. If y'all got some gems out of it, let me know. Comment any feedback y'all have down below. Anything y'all want to see in the future. Like I said, just let me know and I'll see about getting to it. If y'all have any questions, just, you know, drop it down below. It's been BGFX. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Salute.